And we're in some crazy cultural times. And I know you're a dad and your kids are young. How are you talking to your kids about what's happening now when it comes to the culture wars that that we're in, the arguments over race, and it just feels like the country is so split. As a dad,
Yeah.
how do you talk to your kids?
Right now my kids are still very young. And I've made kind of a conscious effort to keep my youngest almost completely um, she knows nothing. She
Mm,
she doesn't know much of anything about what's really going on right now. My son, however, he was quite aware of what was happening last year during the summer of George Floyd, um, and you know uh, it's been tough. It's been tough, and I think there's a certain. I've been struggling to try and find the level in which I can and should communicate things to him. He's at such a young, impressionable age that, for the folks out there who say you got to teach him the real right away, sooner the better, the sooner the better. I disagree. I
mm,
disagree because I think what one of the fundamental problems I have with Black History Month and the way it's taught in public schools, and this will just give it some context, is we teach our kids, and when I say we, I mean the public school system in America, we teach our kids Black history, um, and the origin point of that is slavery, right? So the first thing your kids learn during Black History Month is what Harriet Tubman did. But in order to really, and I know this because I've seen it, I experienced it. It is what it is. And then you start hearing about Rosa Parks, and then you start hearing about Martin Luther King, and then you get to the civil rights movement. So there's slavery and the civil rights movement, and that's kind of the core of Black History Month. So the unfortunate thing is what we're setting up is a dynamic in which white kids are being taught that they are superior. Black kids are being taught that they are inferior. And that's how it's been. And that is the beginning of the mindset for many, many Black people in this country. I grew up with it myself.
that's right.
And it's not until you really become educated and you kind of understand and you read and you know that our history starts in Africa, not here. And so these whole conversations about critical race theory and everything that are happening right now, and how people don't want critical race theory happening in schools, and I'm just like, wow, well, uh, it wasn't that great to begin with because we didn't
Right.
start from the right place. We have to teach our kids exactly how it went. And we can't start with slavery. We have to start in Africa and then get to slavery when they get a little bit older so that they understand how that happened. But right now, all we do is start them off with this power dynamic being white people here, Black people here. Well, what does that do to an 8-year-old, a 7-year-old? It doesn't give them, especially a Black 7-year-old, it doesn't give them confidence.
Especially when it's 2 pages in a history
Yeah.
book.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, so there's ways, and I remember getting like books from, family members and friends for my kids when they were coming up. And I remember the first time I read a book about Rosa Parks or Jackie Robinson to my son, and he was about 3 or 4 years old. And I just shut it down. I stopped. I said, I'm just, because you get to this point where you have to kind of explain the context of why Jackie Robinson is important or why Rosa Parks is important. And without him knowing the roots that started and where they started in terms of Africa and Mansa Musa and Queen Amina,
The
like
Ashanti
teaching
Kingdom.
them
Yeah.
exactly, like teaching them about the part of us that were kings and queens first is something that I think is deeply lacking in our culture, and let alone our school systems. I mean, it'll never come. I mean, it'll take. I'm not gonna say never because I'm not a complete um, asshole, but I feel like, it'll be a long time before we are able to actually explain to children how we all got here. And I think it's unfortunate. It's really unfortunate. So that's where I am in terms of explaining race to my children. Is this is what you're learning, and we've had conversations at this at my son's school, and we're in the process of making changes to the curriculum so it's not just um, you know slavery and the civil rights movement. It just can't be that way. And more importantly, I think for both race, like for all races,
Yeah.
right? Like
Oh
everybody
yeah.
needs to know the origin of Black people in this country started in Africa. Started in Africa.
It's funny. I always say this, that the reason why I think some of these schools don't want to teach the real thorough history starting in Kingdom in Africa, the Middle Passage, why all these things happen is because not only will it liberate Black students, it would also inform white students.
Mhm.
And I think some powers that be, they don't want young white people to know the truth. And so it keeps us all in this circular box of being misinformed, uneducated, and believing the lies that we've been told about ourselves. That's the real danger. They don't want Black
That is
kids
a
or
real
white
danger.
kids to know the truth.
That
That's
is a real
scary.
danger, and it's multifaceted, right? Because like I said, white kids are being taught that they and their people are superior. Superior. Black people start off being taught that they were oppressed, and that, I mean, the first thing my son said to me after seeing some protesters with Black Lives Matter signs on the side of the road, he said, "Are we going back to that time when white people didn't like Black people?" And this kid's, in school with white kids, right? And the damage that's done in terms of like the white kids who are like, you know, that, and when I say damage, I gotta, you gotta be careful about that, because again, they're gaining a sense of superiority, and that's the damage. Uh,
And,
so
and wait a minute. Them being told, well, if we teach white kids the truth, they're going to feel bad about themselves.
no, no, we teach them the truth. I mean, we teach them exactly what we've been teaching them. They can't help but feel
They'll be
superior.
empowered.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they'll be empowered because their people will never oppressed. Never. You know what I mean? It's like, it's unbelievable.
Knowledge is power.
Yeah,
Knowledge is
it
power, man.
really
Yeah, no,
is.
I'm
It
I'm
really is.
I couldn't imagine being a parent right now. So I empathize. It's
Your
it's a
time
lot
is
of work.
coming.
But
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough.
oh, well, listen, Michael Ealy, thank you for coming back on the show. I appreciate it. Again, you are starring in The Woman in the House Across the Street from the Girl in the Window. It drops Friday, January 28th on Netflix. I can't wait. I'll be watching that. The Janet Jackson documentary. I got a full weekend plan. A
There you
full
go.
weekend plan.
There you go.
It's going to be a good time. Michael Ealy, thank you so much, brother. Have a good day. Be safe.
All right, Clay. Appreciate you, man.